No matter what angle you see it from, there's only one Las Vegas. By contrast, Las Vegas Motor Speedway has many ways to race. And for the first time, the K&N Pro Series takes to the dirt track. You heard me right. They are racing on the dirt. Something unusual for points leader Derek Thorne. Feels just about right if your nickname is the Dirt Princess. Two-time K&N Rust Series champ Brendan Gaughan is back. And one of NASCAR's hottest young stars, Christopher Bell, is here for a historic night of racing from the dirt track at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Star Nursery 100 in Vegas. I'm Dave Burns, along with Brandon McReynolds and Dylan Welch. And Brandon, one of us has dirt track experience. Is that you?
That's not me. That's got to be Dylan Welch, because I know absolutely nothing about this dirt racing. I've been to Eldora. I've got the spot out there for Noah Gregson, but when it comes to dirt, I don't know. I just know they grow corn in it, so...
That's probably a better use in a lot of cases. Hey, here's where we're located, out in Las Vegas, where it has been hot. The temperature now 86 degrees, but it's been triple digits for the entire week. Let's look at the championship standings. And for Derek Thorne, Brandon, I got to believe tonight he's in protect mode.
He's got to be, Dave. He's just got to be going into this race. He doesn't have hardly any dirt experience, but he's just got to be thinking, how do I keep my car clean and how do I keep the fenders on it and keep the car pointed straight?
Let's head down to Dylan Welch, who is on the track with a report.
Thanks, Dave. It's a historic night for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series as they return to the dirt for the first time in 40 years since racing at the legendary Ascot Park in Gardena, California back in 1979. Now, the racetrack has laid rubber in the bottom groove. What does that mean? Well, there has been so much moisture sucked out of the racetrack today by the hot Las Vegas sun and the wind that has come through the area that a groove of grip has been laid down in the bottom of the racetrack. You can see where it's a little bit black, a little bit darker down here, whereas up top it looks more like dirt. That creates a problem because these dirt tires on these cars don't like rubber on the racetrack. They weren't designed for that. It peels the tread right off of them. They'll get a new set at halfway, but you have to manage them through this 50-lap segment in the first part of the race and the 50-lap segment after you get new tires, because they're not going to make it that long if you run too hard. It's one of many hurdles that's going to make racing at Las Vegas tonight on the dirt that much more fun.
Dylan makes a really good point, Dave. It kind of reminds me of road course racing a little bit. Whenever we see the cars put on those rain tires, if you stay out there too long while the track starts drying up, it can really burn up those tires. So it reminds me a lot of what we're going to fight here tonight on the dirt track.
Dylan mentioned 40 years ago at Ascot Park. We don't have that footage, but we do have from 2001, Brendan Gaughan and others racing at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the mile-and-a-half track. His biggest competition that night, Scott Riggs in the 2 Dodge. But Scott would have problems later in the race, got involved in an accident, and that left the door wide open for Brendan Gaughan. Coming into the night, he had a 25-point lead over Mark Reed in the championship. And this pretty much sealed the deal for his season in the second-to-last race. Nice look there in the burnout.
Really great night for Brendan Gaughan, and that suit that he has on right there, I actually remember seeing him show up at Irwindale Speedway when I was driving the Napa car wearing that same suit just a couple years ago, so pretty impressive he could still squeeze into that. I know I can't fit into my old suit, so.
It's tough to do. I, as well, am impressed. Speaking of impressive, Dylan Welch catches up with tonight's pole sitter, who is not at all unfamiliar with dirt racing.
Haley Deegan, the first female to be on the pole, the NASCAR K&N Pro Series event. So dirt racing obviously is your background, but these cars are a lot different than what you're used to racing or what you came from. But with that said, is there anything that you have been able to take from those forms of racing and apply to this weekend?
Yeah, this isn't the typical dirt track that I drive on. I'm used to off-road tracks, really rough. Like, the only thing you're worried about in the corner is rolling. Here, it's like you're worried about just looping it out everywhere. But this is kind of like a meet in the middle between a slick pavement track and a dirt track. But I feel like my dirt background is definitely helping me. I couldn't even imagine coming to this race with no dirt experience. It'd just be a lot harder. But I think that the experience I have right now is definitely showing, and I feel like hopefully we can take it to the victory lane. But who knows? I feel like we have a good car tonight, My Toyota Camrys have been on rails all weekend. I feel like we came out of the gate really strong. We were P1 in the first practice, P4 in the next practice, and then we've been on top of the board ever since. So hopefully we have a good night.
Do you feel like this is your best shot to get a win?
Yeah, I feel like coming into this race, even like knowing from the beginning of the season we're having a dirt race, I was like, if there's any race I'm going to be on top, it's going to be that race. It's just the whole like logistics of it. Like, I came from dirt. This is dirt track. Has to help, right?
She's going to go for the sweep tonight. Was quick time, won her heat race, looking for the main event win tonight here on the dirt at Las Vegas.
And Dave, one of the things that I think is going to help her more than anything, other than her experience on dirt tracks, is her confidence. We've seen her over the course of the year get better week in and week out, so I think that should carry over tonight. Really cool that she's going to be starting from the pole position tonight.
Already has a runner-up finish to her credit in 2018. Now let's see how the day played out. Heat races following qualifying to set the field tonight. And of course, Haley had the chance to win her heat race starting first there.
Really set the tone early, showing all these competitors that she's going to be a force to reckon with. And we can see earlier on in these heat races, we saw it yesterday in the test session, track a little bit drier. So one of the conditions that these drivers are going to fight is the visuals, being able to see out of those front windshields.
It just looks hot, doesn't it? Trust me, it feels that way, too. Here's Derek Kraus, the winner of heat race number 2. And something to keep an eye on as you watch these cars. A little bigger grill opening in the front there, Brandon, to help dissipate some of the mud and dirt buildup. This is Christopher Bell chasing down Derek Thorne.
Yeah, absolutely. That grill opening, it has to stay wide open, unlike all the other tracks that we go to on asphalt, whether it's a bigger racetrack or some of our short tracks. These crew chiefs know they can't let any of that mud or dust get up in the front grill, because that'll cause them to fall out of the race and overheat that engine, so can't have that.
And finally, heat race number 4. Cole Rouse jumped out as quickly as he could and then lengthened his lead by the end of it. Again, the cars lined up for tonight, 24 of them in all. The field set by these heat races. And it's a good warm-up for the crowd as well to get a sense of what's going to happen here tonight.
And one of the things that we saw in those heat races is the theme of the BMR, the Bill McAnally Racing Stable. They all have a lot of speed. Haley Deegan leading us to the green tonight, but I wouldn't be surprised to see all 4 or 5 of those cars running up front in the top 5 tonight.
That's right. We mentioned Bell and Gone. They're both running for Bill McAnally as well, so quite the fleet tonight. And there's Christopher shaking hands, getting ready to get in his Toyota. K&N Pro Series Racing on NBCSN is brought to you by K&N High Flow Air Filters and Air Intake Systems, because everyone loves that fast car smell. You've been looking for something a little different in your K&N Pro Series season? How about racing on the dirt? Yes, they've had the Eldora Dirt Derby, but now it's K&N Pro Series at the dirt track at Las Vegas. Dylan Welch is down in the very dusty pit area. Who you got your eye on, Dylan?
Dave, one of the guys I'm keeping my eye on tonight is Sheldon Creed, one of the many drivers in the field with a dirt racing background. He comes from off-road trucks, though. Won him an X Games gold medal. He almost won a couple weeks ago, or earlier this month, in the ARCA Racing Series at the Dirt Mile in Southern Illinois at DuQuoin. He's leading the point standings there. He's awfully tough. He'll be one to beat if he's around at the end.
It's great to see Sheldon Creed out here running this race. Actually has his crew chief, Jeff Stankiewicz, from the ARCA Racing Series out here with him. So a lot of experience between those two. We'll see if it translates over to this race here tonight in Las Vegas.
Half mile of dirt, 10 degrees of banking, Brandon. Not a whole lot there to hold the cars.
Definitely not a whole lot of banking, and I expect these guys to be right on the bottom and probably for that groove to move up. I know Brendan Gaughan always loves that top lane.
Take a look at the starting lineup here. There are some names that have not appeared frequently in the K&N Pro Series. Some we've never seen before, but all of them with great racing resumes and looking forward to the opportunity to make history or remake history with dirt racing in the K&N Pro Series.
Cole Keats starting back in row 6 for Jefferson Pitts Racing. Look for him to charge up through the field, coming from the Red Bull Global Rallycross. Expecting him to have a really strong run tonight.
That some of the racing may look like that tonight.
Absolutely.
No joker lap, though, and this is the real thing. Haley Deegan in the white car on the inside. She's the pole sitter. Derek Kraus to her outside as we make history in the K&N Pro Series dirt track racing in Las Vegas. Whoa! Partridge nearly losing it on the first lap.
Ton of tire spin and damage on the front end of that 60 car for Christopher Bell back there. Hopefully he doesn't cave that nose in and start causing overheating issues. You can see him right down on the bottom.
I'm not sure they all made it through turn 1. Yes, whole lot of dust down there. Can't see a thing. But the flagman knows there are cars spun out in turn 1. Michael Kofoid there in the 83, and Todd Souza gets the 13 refired with a lot of damage, Brandon.
And a really tough break for Todd Souza. He actually came out here earlier in the spring and did a test just trying out this dirt track with these vehicles. So I know he was really looking forward to coming out here and running this race with a little more experience than the rest of the field.
There's Kofoid's battered 83 car. See if we can see what happened.
And all this started, Dave, at the very start, just coming to that initial green. Everyone was spinning their tires, a lot of dust, really hard to see. So a lot of these competitors piling up down into turn one.
So
tough break for those guys.
I was going to say, you can't tell me whose fault that was?
I have no idea. I could barely see it.
And I think that's what the drivers were dealing with, too. Unfortunately, Souza and Kofoid got the worst of that as the leaders sped away. Everyone has it turned around now. Field is aligned again for the resumption of the race, and they'll see if they can get it a little bit better this time. Tough conditions, Brandon.
Absolutely, and really tough break for Christopher Bell. We've been talking about him for most of the night so far, and actually had to come down pit road and fix the front end on that vehicle. They had to take the hood off of it, so just trying to keep that car from overheating too much. We'll see if he can charge back up through the field.
There's Brendan Gaughan, Las Vegas native, Xfinity Series regular, now semi-retired, but comes out to have fun when he wants to, and he'll restart on the inside of row 4.
Seems like all these drivers on this restart really learned a lot from that initial start. Not near as much wheel spin. Just that's the toughest part of the race, is I can imagine running on dirt, just not knowing how much wheel spin you're going to get on those initial starts going up through the gears.
Thinking about the high side was Derek Thorne in the orange and blue 6, and he backs off just a little bit. Now Kraus will try for the lead underneath Haley Deegan.
Sheldon Creed gets into the side of the 6.
Thorne is around, the championship leader with trouble early, and he's getting it pointed in the right direction. The green stays out, and the field moves through.
And that's our points leader, Dave. Really tough break for him right there. Hopefully he can get it pointed back straight and rejoin the back of the field. But that's tough points implications right here to start this race off.
Had a 25-point lead coming in, but the 3 cars behind second place were all stacked together. They're within 7 points, so they're looking for an opportunity to pounce on Thorne.
You can see Sheldon Creed get really antsy right there down into turn 1. He just jumped to the bottom. It's like Derek Thorne in the 6 is already committed. Just one of those racing deals right here. You can see it. The 40 starts sliding, just slams into the left rear quarter of Derek Thorne in the 6. But luckily enough for Derek Thorne, he didn't stall that car with no caution. He was able to get back going.
Pretty optimistic move there by Creed. Here's another look at it.
You can see right there, he's probably on the brake pedal. You can see the front of that nose set. From then on, he's just sliding up into the 6.
But put yourself in Thorne's shoes there, okay? What are you doing with your feet? What are you doing with your hands at that point, Brendan?
He's just hanging on. I'm sure his spotter was telling him inside, 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 and at that point, there was nothing he could do. He was already committed to going to the bottom of the racetrack. So a little bit of a racing deal, but definitely aggressive move for Sheldon Creed in the 40 to start this race off.
He now is receiving pressure from Thorne's teammate, Ryan Partridge, in that 9 car, and the black 99 of Cole Rouse creeping into the picture as well. That's the lead up front. Kraus over Deegan right now.
And we have a few of these competitors that have never dirt raced before running inside the top 5. So not only are they learning this surface, but it's going to change as this race goes on. A lot of variables.
Let's head back down to Dylan.
And Dave, Sheldon Creed has got his ARCA Racing crew chief, Jeff Stankiewicz, calling the shots for him tonight, which obviously just adds to the comfort level that he's shown behind the wheel of this race car tonight, this number 40 machine. They said that they felt like they were not very good at all earlier this afternoon in practice, but once the racetrack started taking rubber, that's where they came to life. Well, we've got rubber right now, and they're hanging around running to that 3rd spot.
Sheldon off to a good start, and as Dylan mentioned, just a lot of confidence for him to come all the way out here, be racing for Matt Levine, working with those guys and Ron Norman. So really great opportunity for that team to have a guy like Sheldon Creed, who has a lot of experience on dirt, to have a successful night and get up into that top 5. Those guys are always competitive, but to have that experience of Sheldon Creed could pay off for them.
That's right, and this came together late because Matt Levine in the 10 car is teammates to Ron Norman, who sometimes runs the 40, but the 40 was just kind of sitting there doing nothing, and so Creed's people and Levine's people got together and said, hey, let's go racing.
Absolutely. No, it's definitely cool to see him come out here and run this race. And just a racer. Sheldon loves racing all across the country. Anytime he can hop behind a wheel, he's doing it. Kind of reminds me of a little bit like Christopher Bell. It's cool to see Christopher Bell out here, too, giving back to the series and racing whenever he can. It just shows that these guys are true racers. They just want to go out there and have some fun and go try to get a checkered flag.
Here's Kraus now working his way through lap traffic. That's David Hibbert in the 64. The Oregon driver, that was tight. And Deegan's not letting him go. She is right there.
And what a difference in styles. You got Derek Kraus that has little to no dirt experience racing against his teammate Haley Deegan, who has a ton of dirt experience, as we've been talking about. But
trouble right in front of the leader. It's Kofoid around again, and he's up against the wall, exiting turn 2. You saw Deegan back out real quick there, Brandon. I think she either was told by her spotter or could see that Michael was in the wall.
Yeah, heads up move for Haley Deegan, because on this dirt, I mean, once you jump on that brake pedal, it's almost like going off in the grass. You could be sliding for a long time, so these drivers and spotters really have to be on their game to avoid trouble.
16-year-old Californian having a little trouble getting that refired. We'll give him a chance to do that. Step away here and be back with more dirt track racing from Las Vegas. 16 to the inside, that's Derek Kraus, but now Sheldon Creed in the white 40 to his outside has a shot heading to turn 1 to grab the point. Kraus got a nice launch there, Brandon.
He did, Dave. That bottom lane, a lot like in the corners, really seems to have a lot more grip with that rubber that Dylan was talking about earlier on. Bottom groove definitely prevailing, and Cole Rouse able to get up into second place working that bottom groove. I
mean, on the outside, stuck there with Sheldon Creed with a little damage now from Derek Thorne, but he's all the way back to 4th. Working lap 45, on or around lap 50, there will be... Oh, trouble for the leader! The leader, Derek Kraus, has spun on his own, Brandon.
I can't believe it, Dave. I mean, he had a pretty good lead going right there. A few car links checked out over his teammate, the 99, just... one of the products of dirt racing. We've seen it at Eldora with the truck series, and we're seeing it here tonight. Guys just get a little sideways, and around goes that car. It's really hard to hang on to these vehicles.
Haley Deegan making her way back through now. She had fallen back just a bit, but moments ago, the 16 of Derek Kraus did this.
Gets down in the center, turns 1 and 2, and he gets up just a little bit. Gets back on the throttle, and around that car goes.
Oh, no. It's not hard to do. It's so slick out there, Brandon.
I would probably spin out if I was out there racing with them. So.
Well, I know what I do. That'd be painful to watch. Earlier, it was painful for the drivers of the 6 and the 9. Not so much now, Dylan.
Both the Sunrise Ford cars have rebounded nicely. Got Derek Thorne running second right now. Ryan Partridge knocking on the door, breaking into the podium. Both of those drivers have Billy Griffin as their driver coach. He is a West Coast modified standout, races down at the Paris Auto Speedway in Southern California and races around the West Coast. He's just been trying to teach both of these ways do you need the car in order to keep it going straight, going forward. Help them diagnose if the car is loose or tight. All things that after many laps on a dirt track you understand, but if you're new to it, it's all new. It's all a little bit overwhelming. So Billy has just been in their corner so far this afternoon trying to help them get acquainted at dirt track racing. So far it's working. They're both running pretty strong right now.
And that's a great move by Bob Riccati and Sunrise Ford team. I mean, you got to know your strengths and your weaknesses as a race team. One of the things that we did from working with Noah Gregson in the truck series last year at Eldora, we brought out Kyle Strickler, a modified racer from out on the East Coast, has a lot of experience. I didn't know a whole lot, so we had to bring him in to teach Noah how to get around the dirt tracks.
This is for the lead, battling, bumping. Derek Thorne, no dirt track experience. I don't think Cole Rouse does either. Has much behind him. The 40 now, Sheldon Creed trying to seize his opportunity. And there's Christopher Bell now in the 60.
And we've seen these two up at the front of the field, the 99 of Cole Rouse and the 6 of Derek Thorne, get into one another back at, some of the races earlier in the year at Douglas County. So no love lost between these two. So I highly doubt Derek Thorne is going to cut Cole Rouse any slack trying to battle for the lead.
It's about taking off his left rear quarter panel there. Falls back in line now. Sheldon Creed's white 40. A lot of speed in that race car. Sheldon really looks comfortable.
Yeah, he had a tough break on that last restart. Restarting on the top, he's in a good spot right here. If he can hold this third position, he'll be able to restart on the bottom
That's right. Coming up near the halfway break, and at that point, the cars will get to go to the pit area, adjust if they need to, put on a fresh set of tires, and then reassume their positions as long as they made the call back. There are no live pit stops per se.
And if I'm Jeff Stankiewicz right now, crew chief in the 40 is Sheldon Creed, I'm telling him to just hold that position right there. Do everything you can to hold off Christopher Bell in that 60 car, but just stay right there in third. That way we can restart at the bottom after the break.
Dirt track at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's hard packed. It's dusty. It's not a muddy or a clumpy, or it's not like clay. But tonight the drivers are learning how to handle it on those Goodyear dirt track Eagles.
They're starting to get really sideways. Derek Thorne sliding up in the middle of the racetrack allows Cole Rouse in the 99 to break away from the rest of the field, trying to negotiate some of that lap traffic that's been a little bit in the way tonight. You know, it's hard for these guys with really a two-groove racetrack to get up out of the way for these leaders.
Not a lot of room out there, half mile. And the groove is definitely that very thin line around the bottom.
And how about Cole Rouse in the 99? Being able to come here, zero dirt experience whatsoever. Has Brandon Lyons, who spots for Daniel Hemrick, working with him, trying to help him around that lap traffic.
Speaking of around, there goes the 16 of Kraus again. Last time, caution did not come out. This time, NASCAR is displaying the caution for the spin of the 16, and looks like this will probably be the at or around halfway break.
Yeah, Derek Krause's night just seems to be going downhill right now, leading this race and dominating early on over his teammate Haley Deegan. Went around once, leading the race, and goes around again here just before the break.
The most recent winner on the circuit this season, and trying to find his way back toward the top of the charts. That right rear doesn't look good.
Yeah, that would explain it. Him spinning out a few times, and all I can assume is that maybe earlier on when he went around, he might have had a slow leak with that right rear tire. So we were just thinking that Derek Kraus just spun around on his own, but having that flat right rear definitely doesn't help.
See what happened this time. He's up in that high groove again, working around the 7 of Cole Keats.
And you can see where that right rear is just sunk down a little bit, the right side of the spoiler. There you see the tire a little bit soft on the right rear. Tough break for Derek Kraus. That seems to be the theme of his year, just having some bad luck. A lot of speed with that 16 team with Bill McAnally Racing, but just seems like every other week there's a little bit of an issue, whether it's a tire or running out of fuel. But a lot of speed out of that young man and his race team throughout the course of this year.
We're showing you the leader there. That's the beat-up car of Cole Rouse. It's quickest and leads at the halfway break. We'll tell you about the pit stops when we come back to Las Vegas. After nearly 40 years away from dirt, the K&N Pro Series returns, and it's at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the dirt track at Las Vegas. It has been dusty, hard to see. A lap 1 incident found a lot of drivers trying to find their way through the cloud of dust. Todd Souza drove away, thankfully. And Brandon, all night long, it's been slick out there, but that wasn't the only problem for Derek Kraus.
Absolutely. The theme of the night's been Derek Kraus leading this race, but tough break for him. He's spun out twice, had a flat right rear. He's going to have to restart the back and try to plug his way forward, a lot like his teammate Christopher Bell has done since the start of this race.
Everyone has been to the pit area. They put on fresh Goodyear Racing Eagles made for dirt, and they have realigned with the 99 black and yellow car of Cole Rouse, the leader. To his outside, the 6 of Derek Thorne, and then the 40 of Sheldon Creed, and the 60 of Christopher Bell. Green is back out at Las Vegas.
Derek Thorne with the best jump that we've seen on the top. Normally that bottom groove's prevailed, but he's holding tight the 99, but 99 of Cole Rouse gets a really good launch off of turn 2.
That high line again not working for Thorne. He falls back. Now Christopher Bell tries to take 4th from him, and here comes Haley Deegan in that red and white 19.
Haley Deegan holding tough with these guys, rolling the bottom of the corner, and what a great lesson that she's getting right now, being able to follow her teammate in the 60 of Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell's won at Eldora, has a lot of experience, won tons of sprint car races, open wheel races, all across the country, so no one better to follow on a dirt track than that guy.
That is the blue 60 for Bill McAnally Racing. He's only run a couple of K&N West races. They were both for McAnally. They were both on pavement. Tonight, they put together a deal to say, Christopher, why don't you come out and have some fun and show him how it's done. He's in 2nd place now.
And Cole Rouse starting to slip a little bit, that 99, almost falling back to the 5th spot as Sheldon Creed's taking over the lead.
Creed to the front in the 40 car. Let's hear from Dylan with more on Bell.
Guys, Christopher Bell in that second spot had some interesting things to say before we got green. This tire compound that's being used on these K&N cars, the exact same tire compound that the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series uses when they race at Eldora. Christopher had a badly used up right rear tire after his heat race and his qualifying run earlier this afternoon. NASCAR allowed him to switch his right front and his right rear so that he had a fresher right rear for this event. He was worried, though, about his right front lasting all the way up to this halfway point. But now he's got new tires on his car, trying to track down Sheldon Creed. But he's one of the only guys in the field, in fact, the only guy in the field with experience using this tire compound. He knows how far he can push it.
Well, that's the difference between this racetrack, Dave, versus Eldora, is it's starting to lay down a lot of rubber. So Dylan talked about in his report earlier in the race, it's going to wear out those tires a lot harder. A guy like Christopher Bell that has a lot of dirt experience is going to kick that car around, get that right rear tire spinning, and try to hook it up leaving, versus a lot of these guys that come from the asphalt series, they're going to be just driving it like an asphalt car, trying to keep it straight as possible, which is easier on that right rear tire.
Saw Tim Ward in the 34 there, the driver from Iowa, moving through. Good run for him. And Cole Keats now getting pressure and contact from Derek Kraus.
Yeah, both guys right there just fighting for the same real estate on the racetrack. But Derek Kraus, he's in no mood to mess with these guys. He's led this race. He's had some bad luck. He's trying to charge up through the field. He's not going to mess around trying to get back to the lead.
That was for 6th place. Keats has to give it up, and now he falls back into the clutches of the 62. That is driven by Brendan Gaughan, of course. Kraus isn't done. Here he comes for Ward.
Yeah, and Brendan Gaughan, we've watched him all night long, Dave. He's just been flirting right there from 4th to 7th, just battling really hard. So we can't count him out of this race. A lot of experience. I know Brendan's out there to have fun, but he's hungry to try to go out there and get the win.
Keats in that red number 7. We'll get back to him as the lead changes hands. There goes Bell. Got right around Sheldon Creed when he kind of missed the corner there, Brandon.
It took one slip up, and that's been the theme of the night. You get down in the corner and you just slip one time, and they're going to take advantage of it. Christopher Bell able to hook that bottom. The 40 to Sheldon Creed left the bottom open, and there he goes. Christopher Bell back to the lead here on a dirt track.
And you saw the leaders go around, the 86 of Tim Spurgeon. Yep, and I believe now the caution is going to come out because Spurgeon has stopped on the exit of turn 4. Right up here. Yeah, see, there you see top left of your screen. And Tim's car has given up for the moment. He got out of line there, Brandon, and then just kind of coasted to the high side there. Must have had a terminal issue.
Yeah, I was watching him coming down the back straightaway as Christopher Bell and Sheldon Creed were going to lap him, and he just slowed getting it down in turn 3, and a tough break for Tim there in the 86 car. Stalls off at turn 4.
It has been a great battle up front for the lead. For the moment, Bell has it over Sheldon Creed. Restart coming in Las Vegas.
Takuma Koga. I'm from Nagoya, Japan. United Broadcasting, CKB, JKR, Chevrolet. My racing go-kart start 12 years old. So next step, Formula Toyota in Japan. K&N series, very exciting, so very tough series. I want a couple more top 5 finish.
How about Takuma Kogan? He's been through anything and everything tonight, but to see him battling back and being inside the top 5, taking advantage of being there at the end, it's really impressive.
I love cycle truck racing in United States.
That top 5 was at Orange Show Speedway, called by Brandon McReynolds. He's 41 now, a veteran in this series, and I think for the first time, maybe in a long time, seeing the dirt track. Having fun out there with the rest of them. Who's having the most fun? Christopher Bell, the restart leader, and he puts the 60 back to the point in turn 2.
And Christopher did a really nice job right there. He made sure and didn't overdrive turn 1, hooked right around the middle of the corner and able to get a good launch, leaving these guys, Derek Thorne in the 6 by 2 or 3 car lengths.
Creed stuck on the outside now in the 40. You can see he just does not get any drive off out there.
Yeah, it's almost like you, as a race car driver, you get on that top groove, you don't have any grip, and you start panicking a little bit. But all these guys trying to keep Sheldon Creed pushed to the outside. Losing a lot of valuable spots right here.
Got to be frustrating. Keats trying to get in there now. Fenderless and all on the right front there, but Sheldon's going to hold him off. Meanwhile, Derek Thorne sticking with Christopher Bell nicely here with pressure from Kraus from behind.
So cool to see Derek Thorne come out here and race with these guys, being able to stay right there with Christopher Bell, who has a ton of dirt experience, as we mentioned many times throughout the night, but just shows his experience. I'm so impressed with him as a race car driver. I've gotten to know Derek Thorne over the course of the last few years, so really impressive for that guy to come out here and show his maturity and his age a little bit, to be able to come out here and really put on a good show for him and his team.
By contrast, his teammate Partridge, he races a lot of different things, including K&N Pro Series, and I know has been out in a dirt car this year just to kind of make sure he knows where he is when he gets here, and he's doing well.
Yeah, definitely a good move, and you can see it paying off tonight. As you mentioned, Ryan Partridge, I mean, you'll be at a racetrack somewhere. I can remember showing up at Kern County Raceway Park watching a late model race, and somebody drove by in a car that looked like the Sunrise Ford cars. It was a modified, and it's like, who's driving that thing? Oh, it's Ryan Partridge.
That's Ryan Partridge,
so
yeah.
He's definitely got that racer blood in him for sure.
This is the battle, second, third, fourth, fifth, but the leader is right there. Haley Deegan back a little bit now in the 19 car. Tim Ward in the 34. And then Brendan Gaughan in the black and yellow 62.
And with just 19 laps to go, Dave, I think the best thing that Haley Deegan can do is really just try to conserve that right rear tire. We heard Dylan talk about some of these guys having issues burning up the right rear in practice throughout the test and their heat races. So she just needs to hang on, keep some good track position, and hope for a caution to close back up to this top 5 group.
See the last lap times roll by on the bottom there. And as you look back and see Brendan Gaughan making good speed here tonight at the dirt track, his whole championship team from back in 2001 reunited to help Brendan get into this race. In fact, crew chief Shane Wilson is there as well, the one who directed him to the championship. They've had a fun time just kind of reliving the past and looking to the future with dirt and the K&N Pro Series.
Yeah, it's so cool to see that loyalty out of Shane Wilson and Brendan Gaughan. I can remember growing up watching those guys work together, and even to see them come back and work together here tonight at this track, it just really shows that relationship and that chemistry that they have as a team. So really cool. And one of the funny stories, I talked to Brendan Gaughan in the garage area yesterday during the test session, and he was like, man, this might be one of the old cars that I ran back in the day when I was working with Shane. And actually, I looked down in it, looked at the serial code. It was a car that I had built at Turner Motorsports as a K&N car with Mike Hillman Jr. And Bill McAnally actually bought that car off of us. So pretty cool to see it out there and turn it into a dirt car tonight. And he's having a pretty solid run.
These cars have lots of lives in NASCAR. Oh, now you can see the 9 of Partridge. He slipped up there trying to get around the lap car, and Creed is going to take that spot. That's for 4th.
We've seen that so many times. That turns 1 and 2 just seems to be a little more treacherous than 3 and 4. Guys slipping up, spinning out, really leaving that bottom open. Sheldon Creed there to take advantage of it.
You can see him pull away from Partridge, but with 14 laps to go, Brandon, I'm not sure he's got time for Christopher Bell, who is checked out.
Well, it seems to be, I don't really know the transition on a long run on the dirt versus an oval, but it seems to be that 40 car of Sheldon Creed has that long run speed. He's able to chip away at these guys. We've seen his weakness be on the restarts, especially when he's on that outside, just getting a little antsy and leaving the bottom open. So I'm sure him and his crew chief, Jeff Stankiewicz, are hoping for a little bit of a long run as he's able to close in on Derek Kraus for the 16.
Here he comes. Kraus holds down 3rd, but Sheldon Creed is right there.
And one of the storylines tonight, Dave, is after being out here for the test session yesterday and watching these guys practice, everyone being on the bottom. I think everyone was really worried that the racing wouldn't be very good, but Chris Wright and NASCAR, they put on a great show here tonight. Even though the
spin in front of the leaders. Sorry, Brandon. Right in front of the leaders. Car goes around. Can't tell through the dust who that is, but that's going to bring the caution out with just 10 laps to go. And you're right on the preparation between the track and NASCAR. Getting this track ready in triple-digit heat, baking in the sun, has been tough. Oh, and now you can see it's Cody Vanderwaal's 43 car.
I was talking about modified racing earlier with Ryan Partridge. Looks a lot like Cody Vanderwaal did a little modified race tonight, just missing the front end of that car. Tough break for him, and we've seen Cody have a great year. He dominated the races at Tucson. Place is probably closest to the dirt track that we go to, as wore out as that asphalt is. So tough break for Cody Vanderwaal tonight.
He gets a point in the right direction. And now a restart for Bell. Hoodless and all, can he hold off the field with just a few laps remaining? Behind them, Derek Kraus and Sheldon Creed. And firing off was Bell with a big jump back to the lead.
He got a really big jump, but I'm sure NASCAR's watching the replay of this restart right here, Dave. It looked like he got rolling a little bit early. He's able to clear the field. I'm sure he's hoping that he doesn't get a penalty because he's cleared by 5-6 car lengths over Sheldon Creed.
And the big loser there was Derek Thorne in the 6 car. He started on the outside of Christopher Bell, and we saw him get wide down there in turns 1 and 2, Brandon, and he just lost all those spots.
Well, not only that, just being able to come to the restart, you know, that cone is really tough as a second-place starter because you're trying to gauge and listen to the leader. Derek Krauskin really crossed up. A lot of damage on the front of that car.
Big contact. Left front of the 16 all squashed in. Now he's going to have the left rear hit by his teammate Cole Rouse. Meanwhile, Bell speeds away.
Yeah, Bell's really checked out right now, but these two teammates getting in the back of one another.
Oh, and Rouse spins Kraus around, and Kraus is going to end up nosed into the wall. That's going to bring out another caution late in the going. Wow.
Man, teammates too, Dave. That's going to be a tough Monday morning conversation with Bill. That's yeah, that's tough. It looked like Derek Kraus just had a lot of issues on that lap, coming down the back straightaway, getting a lot of damage on the front end, trying to squeeze in front of Cole Rouse.
Here comes Rouse in the black and yellow 99 to the inside, or whatever is the inside there, the inside of Kraus.
And he had just rolled up to that quarter panel, so I don't really think Cole Rouse in the 99 did anything wrong. I think it's just a product of both guys being sideways and fighting for the same real estate here in the closing laps. But you can definitely see Cole is to the left rear of that 16 car. Everyone's just fighting for the bottom, and we've seen that all night long. A lot of damage on these left rear quarter panels. People just being aggressive and trying to get down into that right line because they know the top is no good.
Laps are dwindling. This race coming to a conclusion. And now we're getting some interesting words. A lot of activity in the NASCAR booth here. They've been checking out that restart on replay. Dylan, what do you know?
Well, guys, they just black flagged Christopher Bell and put him to the back. They said he jumped that restart the last time around, the last restart. So what was turning into a great day obviously has just been negated, and he's not going to get the finish he deserves.
And that cone to the right there, Brandon, that's the restart cone. There's another one back there by a white tire, too. That's a little bit confusing.
Yeah, and as a driver, I could see where Christopher Bell might have been a little confused. In the K&N series, they have an outside cone up on the wall with a red stripe. You can see that first cone on the left.
That one doesn't matter.
That's where he went. So I could see where that was a little confusing, but you can see right there, the one on the wall with the red stripe, that's actually the restart cone that you're supposed to throttle up, you know, when you're the leader and take the green flag. So tough break for Christopher Bell. He had a dominant performance. He was running really well, came from the back, and he's going to have to do it again here in the closing laps.
So the lead is handed over to Sheldon Creed in that white 40 for Levine Racing. Matt Levine and Ron Norman own the team together. They've never won in the K&N Pro Series. Their driver for the weekend, Sheldon Creed, is a control car, and he gets a nice restart with just a few laps to go.
Definitely the best restart, hooking up those rear tires for Sheldon Creed in the 40, but Haley Deegan is going to push hard. Cole Rouse getting into his teammate, Brendan Gaughan.
Gaughan way high. He takes to the high side. He's going to find a little grip up there and try to hang on to fourth. But no, Cole Keats is going to take it on the inside.
And Haley Deegan able to clear Derek Thorne in the 6, so she's not out of this thing, just a couple of car lengths behind Sheldon Creed in the 40. And I can guarantee she's driving for all she's worth right now, just trying to get to that lead.
Final lap of the race. Sheldon Creed has it, but can Haley Deegan run him down? Derek Thorne is right there, too, down the backstretch, and Creed gets a little bit of a lead going into 3.
He has a good lead, but if he slips up just a little bit, Haley Deegan in the 19 and Derek Thorne in the 6 are going to be right there.
Creed puts the power down. He's true off the corner. Creed is going to win in Las Vegas. Look at that. Wow. And for Matt Levine and Ron Norman, what a night.
That's huge, and especially for Sheldon Creed. I know how much he loves dirt racing and coming out here, so for him and his crew chief, Jeff Stankiewicz, and that team to be out here and get the win, as you mentioned, with Ron Norman, Matt Levine, really cool night for that group.
So a late restart violation takes Christopher Bell out of the picture. Sheldon Creed capitalizes. We'll talk to him. K&N Pro Series Racing on NBCSN is brought to you by K&N High Flow Air Filters and Air Intake Systems, because everyone loves that fast car smell. I guarantee you they went through a few filters this week at the dirt track at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The Star Nursery 100 is over, and the winner is going to hop out of that 40 car. The crew has to be ecstatic. Dylan is down there waiting for Sheldon Creed.
Sheldon Creed survives the dirt The crashes, the late yellow to score his first win in the K&N Pro Series West. That was a wild one, wasn't it? What, that last restart there, I mean, how important was that just to capitalize on that and get the track position right away?
Last restart was huge. All restarts were really big there. I started on the outside of Bell. I was leading there and made a mistake and gave him the lead trying to get around a lapper. And I thought I gave the race away there and restarted second, fell back to like 5th or 6th. Got back to 4th. And I really thought the race was over right there. I thought we were just going to go green, and I got a second chance, and sometimes that's all you need after a mistake. So Haley gave me a little nudge into 1 there, and I knew if I went high, I was going to give the bottom up, and someone was going to get by me. So just tried to hold the bottom, be smooth that last 2 laps, and got to get to my guys. Practice yesterday, I didn't think we had a winning car at all, or even top 5, and today we struggled, qualified 6th, and then Jeff threw some out there at the halfway caution, and just kind of came alive. Just really struggled by it, and there at the end it was pretty good. Just want to thank United Rentals, Amortec RTL, this whole Fine family racing group. This is a cool deal, last minute deal. My grandpa, my whole family that helps me out. This is a cool one.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sheldon Creed wins the K&N Pro Series Return to Dirt at Las Vegas.
Really cool run for Sheldon Creed, and actually his first NASCAR win. So he's gotten used to victory lane in the ARCA Racing Series, but cool for him to pick up the checker flag with Matt Levine and that whole crew.
Rallycross racer Cole Keats finishes 4th. Brendan Gaughan, a nice top 5 for his return. And you see the rest of the field here. It was challenging, and man, a lot of beat-up race cars that came to the finish. I think after, I don't know if they call it fun, Brandon, but it was definitely interesting.
Absolutely, and then noted Derek Kraus finishing back in 17th after a tough break. A few spins tonight.
She almost did it, Dylan.
Second place for Haley Deegan, ties her career best. Kind of an up-and-down night in the feature, in the main event. Fell back, but then was able to charge back to the front. That last restart, when you got to second, did you feel like you were going to have a chance? I mean, what was going through your head there when you got to second with just a couple to go?
Oh, yeah, that last restart, I was like, I'm in the best place to take an opportunity to win, but Sheldon's a great driver. He knows how to drive on dirt. He's been driving on dirt longer than I have, and I've been driving on dirt for a long time. He knew that he had protected the bomb, and he did. I was expecting him to shove a little wider in turn 1, kind of drive the other car, the 6, a little wider, but he didn't. He protected that bomb. That's exactly what we need to do, and we just were close, ended up clearing the 6, but we gained right back on. My Toyota was on rails last 10, 15 laps. We fell off there in the middle a little bit. We were having a lot of shifter problems, and it kept popping out 4th gear. Mid-corners, that was a little sketchy, but in the end, second's still good, but you ask any racer, second's struggle. Second's like the worst place to get in your mind, but it's still, from where we were, it's a good finish.
She keeps knocking on the door, but 1 spot short tonight. Haley Deegan, second place.
Dave, it's hard enough to run on dirt, I'm sure, but for Haley Deegan to be able to hold that car in gear and really drive with one hand in the center of the corner, really impressive for her, and she's going to get a win before the end of this year. I bet you can bet on that.
You see what it did to the points there. Derek Thorne actually increases his championship lead, now over Ryan Partridge by 31 points. So a nice, safe night on the dirt for Thorne. Let's hear from him.
Third place for Derek Thorne. He rounds out our podium. Hey, not bad for your first dirt race, huh?
Yeah. No, it was chaos, man. This place, it's been fun, you know. And like, hats off to the Vegas track for putting all they could into this track. It's tough to make racing conditions for our cars, but probably these guys at Sunrise Ford for putting a great car underneath us. With dirt, you don't get. I swear you're driving. It's like driving a rental car in the middle of Canada in the middle of winter on ice. Like, you just have no feel for a car. So these guys worked really hard on it, regardless of the feedback I was given. But man, the car. We went forward and backward, got spun, top 3, top 4, kept going, made it back into the top 5, top 6, top 7. Just a race of attrition, luck, and just thankfully a third. I'll take a third all day long.
Yeah, you did kind of get bounced around, bounced back and forth. How tough was it to stay patient and just kind of let the race come to you? Every time we'd have a good run, we'd be in second, and then the damn caution would come out and restart on the outside, and there's just no grip out there. It's like driving on ice, and it was a goal to get down, but every time I'd go down, I'd get punted or get sent to the outside anyway. So it was just like, you just throw the thing in the corner and kind of just hold your breath. Hopefully you got a little bit of grip, and the guys behind you got a horrible restart, and you can get down as soon as possible. He salvaged a good day out of it. Derek Thorne, third place.
Definitely seems like Darren Thorne had a lot of fun out there today. You can see him laughing, having a good time with it, but the execution with him is key. Him and his team have done such a great job. No matter what is thrown their way, they find a way to execute, and they find a way to run in the top 3. Definitely look like they're in championship form.
Next Touring Series race for us, you saw, was New Hampshire, September 27th, back to the pavement. But let's relive what we saw. Yeah, it was dusty, but a whole lot of car control all night long from these drivers, Brandon.
Yeah, a lot of ups and downs for Derek Kraus. We saw him spin out a few times, had a tough break with the right rear tire, lost a few points, but those BMR cars, they were fast all night long, and then Sheldon Creed was able to work his way up through there and take to it after the mistake with Christopher Bell on that last restart.
Coming to the checkers much the way he has in the ARCA Series, now his first NASCAR win. It's a K&N Pro Series checkered flag at the dirt track at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Thanks for joining us.